Alright, so now we're moving on to lesson 3. This is the first part of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to be solving a system of equations using a method called elimination. And in this video, we'll be using addition and or subtraction. Here's our vocabulary for this lesson. What is the word elimination? Just the act of removing something. And then elimination is an algebraic method, another algebraic method to solve a system of equation. And what we're going to be doing is adding or subtracting the equations in order to eliminate or get rid of or remove a variable. So get this information down and restart when you're ready to go on. Alright, so far we've learned 2 methods for solving a system of equation. We have learned the graphing method. That was our first lesson. So we learned graphing. Then we just finished with substitution. And now our new method is going to be either elimination using either addition or subtraction. So let's go on to our first example. Alright. When is the best time, you may ask yourself, to use elimination? Well, the best time to use elimination, especially elimination with addition, is when you have a variable that has the same coefficient, and both the y's here have a 5, but they have opposite signs. One's a negative, one's a positive. That's when you're going to use addition. And all you do with addition is add the 2 equations together. And look what happens here. When I add these 2 equations, so I'm combining my like terms here, and you notice I have them stacked on top of each other. Here's my x's on top of each other, my y's on top of each other, and my plain old numbers on the other side. When I combine my like terms, 3 and 2 both have an x, so what keeps them the same stays the same. And I do the arithmetic with the numbers in front. 3 plus 2 is 5. And if I have a negative, or here, I have 2 like terms here, they both have a y, and I do the arithmetic with the y's. Negative 5 plus 5 means I have 0 y's, so there is no y's in my answer. And finally, I add together the other side of the equal sign. All it is adding integers. Negative 16 plus 31 is a positive 15. They have the opposite sign, so I subtract them and take the sign of the bigger one. Then I just have a one-step equation to solve. Remember, whenever I have a number in front of a variable, a letter, it means multiplication. I do multiplication with division, so I divide both sides. So that means my x is equal to 3. Now, once I have that 3, the only way I can find out, remember I have to have 2 answers, because I have an x and a y. I got my answer for my x, so I need to find my answer for y. I have to substitute. So I'm going to substitute in for x, my value, which is 3, into my equation. So all it is substituting a value in, then solving a 2-step equation. Remember, we continuously in math use every skill we've learned before in our next thing. So 1-step equation, I'm going to write it again over here. 9 minus 5y equals negative 16, so I subtract 9 from each side. I'm moving 9 to the opposite side. It goes away or cancels out here, and I get negative 5 equals negative 25. Negative 5 in the y, in front of the y means multiplication. Undo multiplication with division. Negative divided by negative is positive, and 25 divided by 5 is 5, so my y is 5. So that means my answer to this problem is the ordered pair 3, 5, because 3 is my x and 5 is my y. Alright, here's another problem. I've made it a little bit harder on you because it is a word problem, but it's still solving a system with elimination by addition. So let's see first of all how we set up. First of all, reading problem. I like to read it through once, all the way through. Twice one number added to a number, another number is 18. 4 times the first number minus the other number is 12. Find the numbers. All right, then I'm going to read through it a second time. So first of all, twice one number. So I'm going to make this one number x. So 2 times that one number x. Added to, that means plus, another number, and I'm going to call that other number y. Whenever you see is, it means equal. So, and it equals 18. And then I'm going to go on to my next sentence. The 4 times the first number, my first number was x, and I'm going to multiply it by 4. Minus, so I'm going to subtract the other number, which I called y, means equal, 12. Now I had to find the two numbers. Well, you'll notice when I set these up that I have a plus 1y and a minus 1y. I have the same coefficient, opposite signs. So just like before, I'm going to add those. And when I add them, combine my like terms, these both have a y and I have a positive y minus y. They cancel out. So then I just combine my like terms with my x's. They both have an x. What makes them the same stays the same. Do the arithmetic with the numbers in front. 2 plus 4 is 6. And then I add together my other side. So, and I get rid of that multiplication of 6, because whenever I have a number in front of a letter, it's multiplication. So my x value is 5. And if I can substitute this in, and I can substitute it in either equation, it doesn't matter which one, I'm still going to get the same value for y. I should have mentioned that earlier. So 2 times 5, that's my x value, plus y equals 18. So 10 plus y equals 18. I subtract my 10, so my y is 8. So my two numbers are 5 and 18. So, whoops. Sorry about that. Instead of an x, it's a 5. So my x value is 5. So if I multiply it by 2, I get 10. And I add 8 to it, which is my y, I get 18. And I can try it on the other one. If I take my 5 and I substitute it in here, 4 times 5 is 20, minus 1y, which is 8. 20 minus 8 is 12, so they both work out. Alright, so why don't you try all 3 of these problems yourself? All of these are solving a system by elimination. You'll notice I have a plus y and a minus y, so my y's are going to cancel out. A minus or in 3b and a plus 3b, so my 3b's are going to cancel out. And the same thing with my 5z's. They're going to cancel out. So you try, pause the video, solve all 3 of these, then start it back and check your answers. Alright, here is my answer to the first one, here's my answer to the second one, and here's my answer to the third one. Hopefully our answers match. If not, come to school tomorrow with some questions about this. Alright, now we go on. Alright, so we practiced some problems with elimination using addition. Now we're going to practice some problems with elimination using subtraction. When do we want to use subtraction? Or when do we use subtraction instead of addition, you may be asking yourself. Well, what you do when you use it is when you have the variable and they have your coefficients are the same number and the same sign. So your coefficients have the same number and the same sign. And then we're going to use subtraction. Now here, subtraction is tricky because most people forget about that minus sign being out in front. So I'll show you one way on this problem, and I'll show you something else on the next problem about how you can go about with the subtraction. Alright, so I have a positive 2y and a positive 2y. Same number, same sign, so I have to use subtraction. So all I'm doing is taking the first equation and subtracting the second. So I have a 5x, and you'll notice I still have my like terms stacked on top of each other. I have 5x minus 9x. So they both have an x. What makes them the same stays the same. Then I do the arithmetic with the numbers in front. 5 minus 9 is negative 4. Now with my y's, they both have a y. But 2 minus 2 is 0, so there is 0 y's in my equation now. And then finally, I have to subtract my plain old numbers. I have 6 minus 22, which is a negative 16. All right, now I've just got to get rid of that negative 4 in front of the x. Remember, a number, coefficient in front of a variable means you're doing some multiplication, so you undo multiplication with division. So my value for x is negative times negative is a positive, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So my x value is 4. All right, remember that's only one of your answers. You have to take that value for x and you have to plug it in. One of your original equations, it does not matter which one, you're still going to get the same value for y. So here I get 20 plus 2y equals 6, two-step equation. Move my 20 to the opposite side or subtract it from each side. And I get 2y is equal to negative 14. And multiplication, undo it with division. So my y is negative 7. So my answer to this problem is 4 is my x, negative 7 is my y. You're normally going to always see them as ordered pairs. All right, next example. All right, so once again, we're going to be using subtraction, and here's why we're using subtraction here. We have, with the x's, we have a 1x and a 1x, same sign, same number, and we're going to use subtraction. All right. Now, just in case you're having trouble remembering to subtract every number from the second line, here's one thing that I sort of do with subtraction. When I'm subtracting that second equation, what that means is I'm basically distributing a negative to that equation. So I'm going to change all these signs to negative. And when I do that, that makes that a plus. So I can add these together. Either way you want to do it, whichever way is easiest for you, it's your choice. This is the way I normally do it. I change all the signs in the second equation and then I do addition. Because that way, those cancel out. Then I've just got to add my like terms. Both of them have a y, so I write down my y. Negative 3 plus a negative 2 is a negative 5. And over here, 7 minus 2 is a 5. So, undo my multiplication with division. So my value here for y is negative 1. Then I take that value for y and I plug it back in. Like I said, it doesn't matter which one you use. I'll use the second one this time. X plus 2 times negative 1 equals 2, my original equation. So x minus 2 equals 2, and I add 2 to each side. So that means my x value is 4, so my ordered pair is 4, negative 1. Alright, here's 3 for you to try. These all use subtraction. Use whichever way you want to. Pause the video, work out all 3 problems, and then restart the video to check your answers. You need to practice doing these. The more you practice, the better you get. So stop the video and give these problems a shot now. Alright, here's what I got for my 3 answers. I got y is negative 1 and x is negative 2 on the first one. A is 0 and b is negative 5 on the second one. And I got n is negative 2 and m reduces down to negative 5 over 2 on the third one. Hopefully we all got the same thing. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask me tomorrow. See you then.